going to denature the protein. All of these things are going to be happening through this curing process. So salt is the most important ingredient, okay? And this is not a seasoning, it's a cure. So we're not just going to sprinkle the salt. We're going to pack it on there. But you'll see that it's not going to be too salty once we get done with it, because we're also going to use brown sugar, which will help to calm down some of that saltiness. So I usually do about half and half. You can use any sweetening element for a cure. It doesn't have to be brown sugar, it could be regular sugar, could be corn syrup, could be maple syrup, could be dextrose, could be anything. Agave nectar, which I'm recently discovered and am kind of enjoying the agave nectar thing, because it provides sweetness for my sweet tea without providing flavor. Like, it's not flavored. It's just, it's not overpowering. Honey has flavor, and sometimes I don't want that in something. So agave nectar is a nice little alternative. So also what we're going to put in there is dill. Dill is a very classic ingredient in cured salmon. We have before, when we've done this, we have not had dill in school. So I thought, oh my God, what are we going to do? Well, we figured it out. You can use any herb that you want, and what we did was, in that time that we didn't have dill, we took cilantro instead, and we used cilantro, and I'm going to put some lemon zest in here, but we used lime zest. We put some jalapenos in here. And once we packed it on there, we drizzled it with tequila, so it was like a margarita cured. It was like a margarita cured salmon.
It cured it up.
It cured it. It was delicious. I've done it with shaved beets before, and what that does is it changes the color, and it makes it really this deep kind of red color, and then when you slice it, it fades into this bright orange color. It's really pretty. So you could use any herb that you wanted to. Tarragon is also really good with salmon. What I'm going to do when we get this out of the cure next week is I'm going to take half of this, and I'm going to make another smoke box in the kitchen, and I'm actually going to hot smoke it this time. Unlike the duck breast that I just cold smoked, but I want to actually cook it. So it's going to have the texture of cooked salmon. It's going to flake and shred apart, which is what I want for that. And then the other half I'm just going to slice, and we're going to taste it as it is, and that's the gravlax. Gravlax, once you cure it, it becomes gravlax. And then if you take that and smoke it, it then becomes smoked salmon. So usually smoked salmon is gravlax before it's smoked salmon. Okay, it's usually cured and smoked. And then with the smoked salmon, I'm going to shred it apart in a mixing bowl with cream cheese and add chopped shallots and dill and capers and lemon zest. And then we're going to spread that on brioche toast. So it'll be like a smoked salmon spread.
Nice.
It's really good. I always make that. So I'm just going to use this zest to give it some nice flavor. But I'm not going to add the juice, because the juice it'll denature the protein. Cooking is heat, but denaturing the protein is the way that you say that. Okay? So the reason I'm kind of putting this all in the Roboku is because it blends it all up, and I don't have to chop the dill. It's going to make just kind of this powder. Oh. Can somebody go get me a souffle cup of whole peppercorns real quick?
Deal whole.
While he's doing that, I wanted to show you, there is, many people don't know, a proper way to cut a lemon into a slice, and a lot of people don't know this. It makes me nuts when I get, and I'm a big iced tea drinker, big. Like, I'll go through a gallon of tea in a day and a half. And I have to have lemon in my tea. And so when I go to a restaurant, I always order tea. And when I get this thin little lemon slice, it makes me nuts. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? How do I squeeze a lemon slice into my tea? There is a correct way to slice a lemon. What you do is you have the end that was on the tree, and then you have the end of the lemon. You always leave this end on, okay? And you cut this end of the tree part off. And then at Chili's, we used to have lemon slicers where you'd run it down.
Yep, those things are cool.
But
They cut quick too.
usually we did 4 from half.
Yeah.
And then there is this little membrane, and you always want to cut that off, like that. So this is the ideal, though it is more time consuming, it's the ideal way to slice a lemon, and I'll show you why. If you were to cut off both ends of this, which most people do, and then cut it, and don't cut that membrane off, when you squeeze this, number one, it shoots this way. And then because I cut the tip off, where does the juice go?
Your finger.
Damn.
Cool.
But this is used as a little spout so that the juice runs off the tip of your
Oh,
finger.
cool.
So that's why you leave that tip
The
on
more
there.
you know.
That's cool.
Bill Nye.
Okay? Little old ladies do not like
The
juice
science
to
guy.
run down their arms.
Especially with cuts.
Little old
Oh,
chefs
boy.
don't either. All right. You guys, I find that a lot of you don't know how to load the Robocoup. You gotta, first of all, put the blade in it, but it's gotta be on the machine before you load it. You can't load it at your table, because when you put it on, the blade's gonna come up, and then you'll never be able to get it down again.
Can't turn it on.
And then also, there is a little black hole right here. And when you put that on, just like I'm telling you not to take it. There's a magnet and there's a pin that when you turn this, and it'll lock in place, like that. And then the lid only goes on one way, because it also connects with that pin. So the lid has got to lock in place like that, okay? So you guys can pass that around smaller if you want.
Done.
No, wait, lemon. Oh, it's tasty. Like salty, sweet liver.
I'm going to leave
Yeah.
the skin on of the salmon. It'll help to hold it together. So I have these
That's not
rib
cooked,
cage
that's
bones
Big.
right under here.
That's a coffee.
And this is that belly part that I want to take off.
That's salmon bacon.
We have really delicious brioche buns that are made for us by baking, so you'll make them when you go into your next class. And we have them in the freezer in our kitchen, and we use them on sausage day, but I also use them often for Scooby snacks because it's delicious bread. It's this eggy golden bread, and it's awesome for putting this salmon spread on. So for the last few days, just like I told you, my cats have been at the door. Don't know how they know. It's every 6 weeks they know.
Fish time. Daddy's gonna smell like fish. Woohoo, we're gonna be friendly.
You know, they love the smell of fish, but I've tried to feed them
They won't
fish.
eat it?
They won't eat it.
Can't
We're done with that if you want to put that. They do, I do give them the tuna water from the can. They'll eat that, but they don't They don't really, they like to smoke,
You
but they don't like to.
Wet food or dry?
Dry.
Dry ones?
Only dry. They poop too much and it stinks too bad.
My cat-
If I give them wet food. They'll eat it, but.
Go play.
All right, so before I lay my salmon
Turn
down,
into a rat.
before I lay my salmon down to sleep, I'm gonna put a layer of our cure mix. Down. And I'm gonna lay our salmon down.
Diagonal.
Yeah, so it'll fit.
That has to be diagonal.
Presentation has to work.
Yes, it's gonna be done.
Presentation's
Make it wavy.
Now, now.
We're so loving in this class,
Oh, shut up.
can't you? See?
Oh, the things I get on video.
Things he puts
You don't
on.
show your family in this video, do you?
Okay.
Yeah, he puts mine.
Actually, no. Only you guys can see it.
Only friends only? That's not mine said.
Well, classmates. I set it up that way.
Oh, cool.
He doesn't want his friends to know about us.
The Muay Thai people. You hang out with these guys? You say to me?
You want me to answer that?
I would not take you home to dad, no.
All right, one of the reasons that I like to put it in plastic wrap is because it keeps the cure along the side. And also, you're gonna see, we'll pull it out tomorrow when we're in the lab, and you will see all of the moisture that's being drawn out of here. It's gonna look like somebody poured water in. And that's just the moisture that's coming out of the salmon. And then tomorrow, I'll probably flip it over. So that the weight will be distributed evenly over the weekend.
Yours mostly dry.
Yeah, I usually do dry cures.
Because you said you did a tequila one.
But like at this point, I just drizzled it over the top. I didn't like
Soak it.
soak it. I just drizzled maybe half a souffle cup of it. When we do bacon, we'll also do a dry cure. It'll be very much similar to this.
I love cured pancetta. I use it every day.
All right?
All day.
So on Monday or Tuesday, we'll pull that out. And we will, what we're going to do is, and we'll talk about this when we talk about curing more and smoking foods and things like that. But what I'm going to do is Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to pull it out of this, unwrap it, rinse all the cure off, and then put it back in here on top of a rack. And I'm going to put it back in the cooler uncovered because I want it to dry out a little bit. And the reason is because what we want to establish, Marker, we want to establish what's called a pellicle, P-E-L-L, P-E-L-L-I-C-L-E. And a pellicle is this, it's going to be a dry, kind of a tacky skin. Think if you left a steak in the refrigerator uncovered, it gets kind of dried out. And what that's going to do is for the side that we're going to smoke, it's going to give, first of all, it's going to hold on to what moisture is left in there. It's going to seal it in. But the other thing is it gives something for the smoke to adhere to when we smoke it. So we're going to get a better smoke flavor. So we'll leave it uncovered, rinsed off to dry out for another 3 or 4 days. So that it really kind of gets dried out.
Pick up the walk-in flavors.
No. Well, I'm going to put it in the regen, and there's nothing in there. Okay? All right, so let's talk